Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week of First and 10. I am joined, of course, as always, with the Robin to my Batman, Matt Etche.
Oh, God.
Hey, I mean, you walk a tightrope when you make some of these picks, and he was a tightrope walker, so I had to go there. But yeah, I mean, we're back here to talk about another pretty interesting week in the NFL. Now, it wasn't as wild as week 3, but I think week 4 definitely delivered the goods in the games that mattered. As you and I both actually got together to watch Green Bay, New Orleans, and that game was down to the wire.
Very exciting.
The Giants, your boys, was down to the wire.
Not so exciting.
Not so exciting for you, but for Arizona Cardinal fans, down to the wire and exciting again. So, I think the one thing we can say that the NFL, first week back with the real refs, so that was kind of a nice thing to see. So yeah, like we said, a lot of games down to the wire. I mean, the Thursday night are even down to the wire, and we didn't think that game had any hope of being competitive.
Yeah, Whedon surprised me, that's for sure.
Whedon definitely did.
Mind you, that very last throw was terrible. Give your boys a chance. He threw it through the end zone, but that was a good game anyway.
That was a good game. But yeah, I think the thing we can realize from week 4 is that some of these teams that we weren't sure if are for real, like Arizona. And some of these teams that for some reason we were doubting have turned the corner maybe, at least in my eyes, and are proving to be for real, as New England looked like the New England of old. And
I think they found their identity. A lot of teams have found their identity that we were looking for.
And they put up 52 against my beloved Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
So that's another year of us getting dominated by New England. But yeah, I thought week 4 was pretty good, I guess. So what would you say would you take the most away from week 4 in the NFL this week, Matt?
Yeah, like I said, just teams finding their identity. As you said, the Patriots, maybe a little different identity. They running the ball, but finally got it working. Proved me wrong. Also, Philadelphia, as much as, it hurts me to say, they did beat my Giants. I think they finally found the kind of game that they need to play, managing the game well, not throwing interceptions or fumbling the ball, and their offense is scary fast, scary quick. So those types of things, like I said, Arizona, Houston, and Atlanta all continuing to win, and yeah, we'll probably talk about them in a little bit.
Absolutely, and I think with the Patriots, just sticking with them for a bit, you'd be talked about why are they running the ball when you have the likes of Tom Brady and Wes Welker and a Brandon Lloyd and of course the 2 tight ends set up that even though Hernandez is hurt, and Gronk. But you got to give Belichick credit when he wants to do something with his offense. He's going to stick to it, whether critics like us or other media members out there want to say that's a dumb idea. But he found some guys that none of us had ever heard, and they burned Buffalo badly. Yeah. So they made Buffalo's 2-back system look stupid, and that's coming from a long-time Buffalo Bill fan in myself. But yes, we did obviously talk about Arizona, kind of proving they're for real. They are 4-0, which, once again, still can't believe that. But this week, it was a tougher hill for them to climb. They had to come down to the wire and do it in overtime, actually, against the Miami Dolphin team who, you and I have talked about and I had no faith in. But the past 2 weeks, the Dolphins have played really good football, and I'm starting to believe in Ryan Tannehill, and I think the future for Miami will be really good, especially if they can get Reggie Bush going and, down the years, pick up some receivers. There's always an offseason, a trade deadline, what have you, where they can really do some damage and maybe pick up some more defensive players. But, yeah, so we'll stick with Arizona here. Arizona, of course, they have a short week now. They play on Thursday against the St. Louis Rams in what should actually be a pretty fantastic ball game. Now, at the beginning of the year, none of us thought this would be a fantastic ball game. You can watch the rerun of Seinfeld or something over this game. But this game actually kind of means something. I think it means something more so for the Cardinals to continue to prove can they beat teams, I guess, in their division, and teams that I guess they really should beat. And I think it also means a lot for the division as a whole to prove that it's no longer a laughingstock of the NFL. And that is a real competitive division. So I'll let you start. What do you like about this game, and what are you expecting to see in this game?
I'm expecting to see, like you said, very entertaining game. I think it's going to be close. I think the Rams being at home helps them a lot. If this was in Arizona, I would pretty much just take Arizona right off the bat without batting an eyelash. But Rams have played really well this year at home. They're 2-0 there. And Arizona being 4-0, though, they are continuing to prove themselves. Their defense is incredible, and I think they're going to bring it to the Dome. They're going to beat the Rams.
I don't know if it's that whole aspect. St. Louis is actually a really good home team, going back to even last year a little bit. Bradford, like we've talked about a couple times here on the show, is really clicking.
Yep.
And he's really clicking with Danny Amendola, who I think may hurt Cowboy fans because he was on the Cowboys a couple years ago, and they cut him before he even made the main roster. And look at him, he's just shining from St. Louis. I mean, he, unlike Des Bryant, can catch footballs. So there's that. And plus that defense with Laurinaitis and company, they've played really well at home. And it's going to be kind of tough. It'll be interesting to see how well that defense stacks up against this revitalized Kevin Kolb, as well with him kind of now clicking with Larry Fitzgerald. There's that. But I really like Arizona's D. I mean, they are a scary good defense. Patrick Peterson now may be the best cornerback in the National Football League, with Darrelle Revis being on the shelf. So, I mean, the whole real home aspect here kind of really works for St. Louis. I could see them winning and I also love the coach Jeff Fisher. I absolutely think he's one of the best coaches in the league. But I gotta ride with the momentum here with Arizona. I'm gonna lean with them. I think once the game comes down for them, and I think last week, coming down to the wire with them against Miami was a big character builder, which is what some of these teams need. They can't just go out there and blow teams out and then get in trouble and then panic and then they would get dominated. So I think that was a big builder for Arizona. So I'm going to take them by a field goal once again.
All right, there you go.
So, we also have kind of developed this thing on the show here of the game to watch. Yeah. And this week, actually, a real interesting game to watch. It's a battle between two quarterbacks who've done heavyweight title fight style matchups in the AFC before. It's Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning, but this time no Indianapolis Colts. It's Peyton's Denver Broncos versus the New England Patriots. So both teams 500, 2-2. A real gimme matchup here. I mean, this is where you got to show me what you got type game. Something's got to give here. I'll let you start once again. What do you like about this matchup, and who are you going with?
I gotta say, I am jacked up about this matchup. I was looking through, I was trying to pick. So hard to pick who is gonna win. Both teams, 2-2. Both teams have beaten okay teams, like not very good teams. Patriots beating Tennessee and the Bills. Denver beating
Pittsburgh.
Yes, Pittsburgh and
Oakland.
then Oakland. Yeah, exactly. And then both teams losing to fairly good teams, Patriots, Baltimore,
and Arizona.
Arizona, thank you. And then Denver losing to
Atlanta
and Houston. I knew this. I don't know why I can't remember this. Anyway, so looking through all the numbers and stuff, very hard matchup. Both quarterbacks amazing, but I gotta go with Denver just because they have played in the tougher games, and Houston and the Atlanta matchups, they only lost by 6. They were in it till the end. The Atlanta game, they played terrible in the first quarter and still came back, almost had a chance to win in the end. I just think Denver has faced a lot more adversity this season and have been in tighter games, and I think that Patriots have really taken a step back. They looked amazing against the Bills, but Bills aren't necessarily an elite team, and I think this is going to be a really close game in that and those sorts of things. But Denver's faced the adversity; they're going to come out on top.
Well, I'd agree with you for sure that Denver's been in a lot of close games, but I don't think you can say New England has it. They were in it to the end against the Cardinals, and they were in it again the next week against Baltimore. Now that I guess this week for them it was kind of a vacation because they sped away from the Buffalo Bills. But Denver, like you said, they've been in close games in their own right. They were also last week in a game where they sped away from Oakland. I'm going to go with the Patriots in this one. I think the Patriots had such a performance that it's such a confidence booster and such a word we're going to use that I don't really like to use too much. They've got their swagger. They got their swagger going here. And Tom Brady looked so motivated when he ran the ball in the end zone against Buffalo. He had this just like, I'm back, I'm ready, I got targets now, I have confidence in Brandon Lloyd. Like Brandon Lloyd, he hasn't been a dangerous name in the NFL since I played against him in ESPN 2K4. I mean, let's be real. He hadn't been that dangerous. Gronkowski, Wes Welker is finding that chemistry with. But as well, Peyton, every time he goes to New England, isn't the same Peyton. I mean, we all remember that AFC Championship game where he played the worst game of his career. And I just get this feeling that so far, Denver is not a road team. They don't really like the road. They love that advantage at Mile High with the altitude and stuff. I really like New England in this one. I don't think it's a blowout or anything like both teams had last week, but I like the Patriots in this one. So there's that. But everyone's asking the question. I think we're at the point where we can officially ask this question: who's the best team in the NFL? And I think there's only real 3 or 4 choices you could say, maybe 5. You got, of course, 3 4-0 teams in Arizona, Atlanta, Houston, and then to me, I think there's a couple more in there. You can throw San Francisco in there, Baltimore, and I guess the Pats you got to throw in there just from how well they looked last week. So
it's still against the Bills, but okay.
We went to 4 Super Bowls. Not with any of those guys, but we're a great team, sort of.
Okay.
Come on. I can't hate on them all the time, but, and we were up 21-7 in that game, so child, please to you. So who do you think is the best team in the National Football League?
I gotta go with Houston Texans. I just think all around, I mean, the one that I would be debating against would be Atlanta Falcons. I just think Houston altogether, all around, is a better team. I think Matt Ryan's a better quarterback than Schaub. But, I mean, Schaub has Andre Johnson, and then, I mean, the running backs, they have, who's the running back? Arian Foster and Tate, and that dual threat is incredible. I think they need to give Arian Foster a few less runs. People have been talking about that. He already has over 400 runs, or 400 carries in 4 weeks. You don't want to wear him out, especially if you want to make the playoffs like you did last year. And I think their defense right now is a little bit better than Atlanta. I think Atlanta's defense has a lot more potential for the big play, but I think Houston is just solid up front and all around, and just a tougher team to play against. Also, I think you go into Houston, I think it's a tougher place to play than Atlanta. If Houston gets home field advantage at the end of the season, look out for them in the playoffs.
I'm going to go with you a little bit on Houston. I can see that. I definitely do believe a lot in Houston, but I may actually take Atlanta, and I will say, because I think Atlanta has played a lot of tougher teams. Yeah. I mean, you look, Atlanta played, San Diego, who I guess isn't as bad as, what a lot of people are making you believe, and they absolutely out-dominated them. They dominated the Broncos week 2 for at least a half, and, their defense held that lead together, and they faced some adversity against that explosive, exciting Carolina Panther team, which is, of course, a division rival, and they gutted it out in the end, which is something they really needed.
Great game.
Houston, I mean, they look fantastic in really dominating Denver in their own right, but when you look at 3 of their other opponents, Jacksonville, Miami, and Tennessee last week, that doesn't impress me that much. Now, I think Houston does a damage and does well in the playoffs, but from what I'm seeing out of Atlanta, and that defense is what I kind of thought it would be, as well with Matt Ryan kind of being, proving to be a real leader out there, plus him and his wide receivers, not only him and Roddy White and Julio Jones have such good chemistry, but you got Tony G in there and the Burner Turner. I mean, that's a scary football team. So I kind of lean with the Atlanta Falcons, and the question at the year was, is Atlanta going to be for real this year in the NFC South? And to me, so far, yes. Yes, they are. So there's that. And then, I guess speaking of, tough divisions, we just kind of talked about the NFC South, which is kind of always a tough division in its own right. The NFC East. This division has just become wide open because, I think every team in that division, with the exception of the Eagles somehow, is 2-2. Mm-hmm. Who's the best in this division? Your boys play here. I mean, who is the best, Matt?
Best right now? Well, I mean, after this week, I have to go with Philadelphia. I know they're kind of the obvious choice because they're 3-1, but they could easily be 2-2, and Giants could be 3-1. I still would have taken Philadelphia, even if Giants had beat them last week, just because Philadelphia, they outplayed the Giants. Dallas isn't showing much after that first week against my boys, in which they surprised a lot of people. They haven't really come out. I mean, their Monday night performance was just awful. I don't know what the heck was going on there.
Horrid, actually.
Yeah, horrid. Washington, great story with RG3. Just they don't have the rest of the team yet to actually win that division. So, I mean, I think it comes down between Giants and Philly, but I think Philly showed that if they play the way that they can, don't turn the ball over, and run their offense like they did against the Giants, I think they're really scary, and they win this division.
I also think the Giants. I like the Giants personally. They're 2-2, but I'm not too worried about them. And even though those two losses are against division teams like Dallas and Philadelphia, I mean, to me, I still think Philadelphia is one of the most overrated teams in the NFL right now at 3-1. Even though last week they played their best football game, I thought Vic did a great job managing the game and on the offensive side, and I thought the defense played extremely well, especially when it counted, even though there was some terrible pass interference calls on that final drive against them. Dallas, like you said, they looked fantastic week 1 against your New York Giants, and then it's just like, well, that was the only game we need to show up for the year. Forget the rest of the season. And they're off. They honestly are awful. I'm just going to say this right. They are awful. I don't care what anyone says. They are an awful team. Their defense is, like, overrated. Their offense is a mixed bag of either good to mediocre to horrible. Tony Romo,
he threw a pick in the first quarter. I'm like, what? He's not supposed to do that till the fourth quarter. Oh, he did that too.
I'm sorry, Tony Romo, folks. Cowboy fans, just chill out. Tony Romo is not the guy for your team. I don't know how you don't know this yet. It honestly are a bunch of delusional people talking about your quarterback. Because, honest to God, it's been 8 years with the man. 8. And it's just like, oh, it was just one bad game. It's not. No, it's over. He's not good. Joe Theismann today said he's not a good quarterback. And how can you not disagree with that statement? Did you see the pass he threw to Lance Briggs? Jesus Christ, it's not softball, Tony. It's the NFL. And for you, it will stand for not for long if you keep playing that poorly. Like, it's 8 years. And Cowboy fans are like, team sport, you can't blame him. Now, sure, Des Bryant didn't catch some balls that he shouldn't have. But, I mean, my God, Tony Romo is the Achilles heel of this team. You can't put faith in him. He is honestly the straw that will break the camel's back. Just draft a quarterback. Something. I don't know. But he is terrible. And Cowboy fans will just stand there with the Dallas Cowboys shield and defend him. Why? Just admit he's awful and get on with your lives. I've never seen a more delusional fan base than Cowboy fans. You're as bad as Leaf fans. Yeah. And that is a statement right there. Okay? Honestly, Leaf fans are the type of fans, they win a game in an 82-game season, the cup will be at our house like next year. No, honest to God, you guys need to realize Tony's not the guy. You have issues somewhere else, but Tony's the leader of your offense, and he's played like shit for 8 years, and it's just like, that's fine. No, it's not. Don't you want to win? Don't you remember being America's team? And then I hear all this nonsense. He's about to break team records. Who gives a fuck if he's about to break team records? Don't you want to win Super Bowls and championships and maybe a playoff game and not I'm sorry. I get so annoyed with Cowboy fans talking about, well, it's okay. No, you guys, honest to God, just wake up, look at the world through realize and not through star vision, and you'll realize situation. I'm sorry, I just had that. That was just bothering.
So just so we're clear, you don't think the Cowboys are going to win the division?
I'd be lucky if the Cowboys win another game. Personally, they played that badly
so
against Chicago.
You're taking the Giants, though.
Absolutely, I'm taking the Giants. Now let's talk about a team that's 0-4 that probably shouldn't be 0-4, and that's the New Orleans Saints. Calming down here a little bit. You got some decaf maybe, but... So, the Sunday nighter, of course, the 0-4 New Orleans Saints take on the 3-1 San Diego Chargers, and... Drew Brees will probably break Johnny Unitas' consecutive TD record.
48?
Yes, 48, yes.
Sorry.
I didn't know anyone would get so excited for the 48 number, but it's going to be a big game there. I mean, New Orleans, they need a victory. Their defense has to play well. They got to stop the run for a change. Their defense has to stop the run, the pass, the special teams. Maybe the convenient man in the stands. They gotta stop. They gotta stop anyone. But San Diego, I mean, they're a team that's been under the radar. Personally, we haven't talked about the San Diego Chargers as much, and I kind of surprised we haven't, because they got the same core of guys really at offense. Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, and now they got Matthews back in the backfield. And that guy is a scary weapon right there for the Chargers when he can get going against New Orleans. So, do you see New Orleans finally getting that victory, or does San Diego continue to fly under the radar and go to 4-1?
After Week 5, New Orleans Saints are going to be 0-5. I got to take the Chargers in this one. Even though it's in the Dome, Saints just, they aren't the team, I have taken the Saints the first 4 weeks of this damn season, and they haven't been able to get it done. they played amazing in Green Bay, but I think that's a good matchup for them last week in Green Bay. I mean, two teams that are more let's just rack up the score, see as many touchdowns we can get, last possession wins almost kind of thing. With the Chargers, it's a different game, albeit maybe the Chargers defense isn't what it should be against the Saints offense, but the thing that scares me is Ryan Matthews is back, and he is fresh. It's been said that he's going to get as many carries as he normally would in this game, and I think Chargers are just going to run the ball all day against this terrible run defense that the Saints have. Other teams have shown it. KC certainly showed it, and I think with a quarterback in oh my God, I can't remember names today. Phillip Rivers. Even if the Chargers do get down a little bit, they can come back, which the Saints defense has also shown they're willing to let teams come back against them. I think Chargers win, become 4-1, and a lot more people start talking about them, and Saints are gonna be 0-5.
Surprised you forgot Phillip Rivers. He was, of course, the secret weapon on a lot of your
fantasy.
I love Phillip Rivers. You love everyone in the NFL. You just love everyone, except Tony Romo. I think that's the theme of today. But I'm going to actually go with New Orleans. I think they played really well, considering how much criticism has been about this team. They played really well against Green Bay, and they were in it to the end. And unfortunately, they took a stupid penalty in that field goal and had to back him up, and then Hartley missed. So, I mean, that's a heartbreaking loss that can either motivate you to continue to play at the level, but I guess push it past that level, or you just totally crumble. Mm-hmm. I like New Orleans. I think San Diego, they have the weapons, like I said, of, still Matthews now running the ball, but, Rivers and Antonio Gates. I think they're going to actually surprise some people and shut them down. Drew Brees is going to be motivated with that dome crowd in a big primetime game to prove that, Drew Brees is a winner. You can't deny. Drew Brees is a winner. I have faith in Drew Brees getting it done this week after the performance he put on last. He looked motivated. He looked like a man possessed. Unfortunately, the circumstances, he didn't get the job done. He will go out of his way. He may give both his arms for that victory against San Diego. So I like New Orleans.
God, I hope not.
Well, I hope not either. But Saints fans hope not. They could definitely not lose him. But moving on to the final game of the week, of course, the Monday Nighter. This Monday Nighter could have been a lot more interesting if the Jets were, good. I think that would help a lot if the Jets were a good team this year. Unfortunately, though, you have to say, they did lose. They lost their defense in Darrelle Revis, and then they lost the main man to catch balls for Mark Sanchez. Today, we found out Santonio Holmes done for the season. So, that's not good. It's also not good considering you don't have a run defense in your own right, and you're playing the Houston Texans, which have not one, but two great running backs in Arian Foster and Ben Tate. I think it's safe to say we both like Houston in this one.
Actually, I'm going with Houston.
Yeah, I don't think the Jets are just such a disaster right now. They've been all that media stuff in the offseason, and then they couldn't score a touchdown in the preseason, and then it looked like they may have turned the corner in the first week, but they're just the same old Jets. And, people are screaming for Tebow, and before you know it, Rex Ryan's going to have to put Tim Tebow in there. But once he puts Tim Tebow in there, you got to stick with Tim Tebow. You got to ride that out. And, Tim Tebow, to Skip Bayless and the many out there, a winner, yes, but he can't throw. I mean, I'd rather put this guy in there for the Jets, personally. And he's no quarterback. No. But that's really about it for this week. I think it'll be as always, it will be an exciting week in the National Football League.
We'll be watching. You better be watching.
If you're not, what are you doing? What do you... Tiddlywinks? Really? I mean, I think you got to watch this week in the NFL. Especially, I think the Saints will turn some heads, and they'll get the job done. And for Tony Romo, he's got 2 weeks to think about, I don't know, Jessica Simpson or whatever. Just win, okay? Prove me wrong. But that's it for this week. I'm out, and he's out. Peace.